Right, we'll make a start. Are you ready now?
Certainly am. Good to go.
Okay. Welcome everybody to this Making Most of Canva session for Parent Carer Forums. So this is a contact online learning session. If there are any technical hitches, please bear with us. Just put any issues that you're having in the chat and we'll follow them up. If you're joining by a PC, laptop, tablet or smartphone, you should be able to see this slide. If you've got any issues with seeing the slide, can you just pop something in the chat and then we can follow that up, please? So my name's Lisa Aldred and I'm Parent Participation Advisor at Contact, and I cover the North West and the Yorkshire and Humber regions.
And I couldn't find the mute button then. We used to Teams. I'm Nan Cooper. I'm the chair of Bolton Parent Carers up here in the Northwest.
So today's session is about making the most of Canva, and Nan's going to be walking through some of the things that she does with her own forum to show you how it can be done with your forum. And she's going to be covering branding, creating flyers and documents, QR codes, shading, how to showcase your achievements, and some social media posting. So hopefully that is what you were expecting of this session today, and we really hope you enjoy it. If you could please remain on mute through the session. We're going to take any questions that come in the chat, or if you want to put your hand up, we're going to take those at the end of each section so that Nan can talk through the section and then we'll pick up any questions then. Anything else we need to cover?
No, I think we're all right.
Okay, so I'm going to hand over sharing of screen to Nan now. Thanks.
Okay, so hopefully everybody can now see my main screen on Canva. Just to start off by saying I am absolutely not trained on Canva. I've never attended any learning about it. I'm absolutely self-taught, and this is kind of forum to forum, peer-to-peer sharing. But many years ago, in sort of one of my very first jobs when computers were new, I did learn that you can't really break things, and the best thing you do is just have a play and have a Google and work things out, and you can usually just get the best out of anything you want to do. So we're going to start with some branding, and I'm going to just show you sort of how through Canva you can get sort of a really good sort of branding message across. So hopefully you can see that it's moved to a new screen now. This is sort of a selection of my forums, sort of more recent bits and bobs we've done and used Canva for. And I think the main sort of thing you can see there is we've obviously got some real core colours. Our fonts are always the same. And my son, who has learning difficulties, I showed him this last night and I said to him, "What can you tell me about this?" And he said, Bolton Parent Carers is very pink. So hopefully it's the kind of thing that, you know, really comes across through this. So we use Canva very sort of usefully to make sure that we have this very consistent branding message. And it makes it really easy for you to do this. So a lot of the times in the past, before Canva actually got really good, I actually used to use Adobe, which is really technical and can be quite tricky to use sometimes. And you had to be far more understanding of technicalities to be able to do some of the things that you can do on Canva. And now you can just do loads of good stuff. It's actually changed over the last couple of weeks. So if sometimes I can't find things, I apologise. It's just that they've done some kind of update and lots of things move because they're constantly sort of evolving what they offer on Canva. So we're going to start with using the brand toolkit, and we will explain how, if you're not paying for your Canva, you can maybe get free Canva, or actually it's quite cheap to actually do the premium version. So this is the brand kit section, and this is what you can use to make it really simple. So you'll notice I've got 3 different brand kits. So I've got my forum one. I also work for the Information Advisory Service, so I have a little one in there for IAS. And then for autism in schools, I use a different kind of brand image as well. So I have 3 different brand kits that I use. And so in anything that I'm doing, it's actually really easy to just switch between those brand kits. So if I just click into the forum one, because that's obviously what we're covering today, you'll see straight away that have got logos uploaded into there. So I love a variation on a logo. I have lots of little different ones. You'll see that at some point I have one with Christmas hats on my little people. Each year we do a Christmas card, and my little people from my logo are always holding something different. During COVID, they had masks. The year after, they had PCR tests in their hands. So I like to go a bit quirky at Christmas and use Canva to put silly things on our logo. Whenever you add a new logo into your brand kit, it'll pick your colours out, and this is what's really useful. So if you're not somebody who's like really sort of computer literate or design literate, and you don't realise the importance of, you know, or how you get those specific colours out, Canva does it for you. So it extracts the colours from your logo, and that means you can really use that across everything you do. You can also, in the brand toolkit, put your preferred fonts in there. So this enables you to make sure that whoever's using it, sort of across your people, they automatically can really access the fonts that you want them to use. So you can actually even add additional fonts in there. So this one here, that is our heading font. This is actually the font that in our logo says Bolton Parent Carers. And it was actually one I uploaded off the internet many, many years ago. And you can actually upload these into Canva. So if you're using a font within your logo that isn't one that's just available in the loads and loads that Canva have, you can actually upload your own specific font as well. And that's really good, because it means you don't actually have to have everybody uploading sort of fonts onto their own computers, if that's something that you do. So what I'm just going to show you, as well, sorry, in here, you can add photos. So within your brand kit, if there are lots of photos that you use quite regularly, you can have sort of a little section that you regularly use photos almost. So there's quite a few that we use in here. There's me, short hair, that are ones that I quite like to sort of resort to quite a lot. You can see in here actually something I'm going to show you later. Just bring that one up if I can. Can't use it. It's not letting me open it right now, but actually it's got the some of the designs I've used Canva for on the shelf there. But what I'm just going to show you what you can do is I'm going to go back to the original brand kit page, and just as an example of how easy it is to get your colours out of a logo, I'm going to add an additional logo to our IAS section. So you simply can add a additional logo. So this is our local information advisory service logo, as opposed to sort of the national one, and you'll see straight away it's extracted the purple and the lilac we use locally, and so straight away you're going to be able to get those colours across everything you do. But I'm going to go back to the forum one, and so that's where you can use those brand kits. We will just give a quick explanation of sort of that, the fact that brand kits aren't available in the free version. So there's a forum, we pay for premium, which is about £100 a year, which in terms of comparing it with a lot of other things and Adobe and things like that, it's not a bargain. They have changed the pricing structures lately, so it's a little uncertain as how many people you can add to that, but I currently have 5 people in that team for £100 a year. If you are in a certain category, if you go into plans and pricing and click on not-for-profit, there's lots of information in here about how you can actually get Canva for free. And the best thing to do is just read the eligibility guidelines, because it's for charities, it's dead easy, it looks like. I think, Lisa, you managed to do it in Wigan, didn't you? We're not a charity, we're just still a voluntary constituted organisation. So I've not delved deeply yet into those eligibility guidelines, but it's definitely quite simple. It looks, if you have the right sort of governance, to be able to get Canva for free. They hide it away a little bit. It's not that obvious, but it's definitely obviously worth having a look at if you think you might be eligible, and then you can get it totally free, which will give you the access to the sort of the premium bits and pieces.
I've got a slide on that afterwards as well, Nan, just
Ah,
to give the link and the eligibility.
oh, brilliant. But you know, even paying for it, it's really good value, I'd say. I'm going to show you now how, you know, the brand kit is just really easy to use. So I'm just going to create a design, and I'm just going to pull up a blank document just to show you how everything sort of pops through. So you can actually use Canva now like Word. So when you do a document, this is virtually just a Word document, but you'll see straight away if I go into the font section, and it says Bolton Parent Carers here, we've got straight away the options of selecting which brand kit I want. And you can straight away just get the fonts that we want there. So I am using EPC in font. Oh, there we go. And then again, if we're going to look in sort of changing to our colours, if we highlight that and go into your colour section, straight away there, all your standard colours are brought forward, and you can just change your fonts to being what you want. Again, you can switch between your brand kits as well at that point. I can then also use the brand kit to click in here. So down your left-hand side, you've always got all your access to all your fun and fancy things that Canva does. And when we click on brand kit, I can go straight away, see all my logos and add in the logo that I want. It's really easy to then be able to make sure everybody uses the same logo. I know often sometimes we have different variations, don't we? You can also then look for any of the sort of standard photographs you use. So I'm going to find the one. There it is. This is our office. And if you just look there, just in the distance there, that's one of the things that we do every single year on Canva, which I'm going to show you a little bit about later. And it's a fabulous little infographic that's our year in numbers. And we do that every year. You'll see I take my branding quite seriously when it comes to even getting chairs in the same colour in the office. But everything is there then and available just in that little section over there in brand kit, and it means it's really easy to make sure that when you're doing a document, you know, you can add sort of your paragraph font, and you're going to be using the actual standard that you want everybody to use, so they're all there. So that's the one we use, and then I'd go through and I can change it to be my teal colour. So it's really easy to just get that consistent message, and this is one of the things that I was always really focused on as a forum. Our initial image and our initial sort of name we changed in 2018, I think it was, and one of the things I wanted to have was something that was very consistent and people would look at and go, oh, that's from Parent Carers. So I have a slight obsession with making sure that we get that really good message through. So that's kind of the end of the brand kit bit. Does anybody have any questions, particularly about that part?
Can't see any.
No, are we good? Excellent. Oh, we got a hand up. Go on, Rosemary.
Sorry, did you say that the brand kit's only available in the paid for version, not in the free version?
Yeah, it's in the paid for version. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Talking of colours, I'm going to show you how you can use some of the apps now that are available. So it kind of works a little bit like sort of WordPress or even like an iPhone, in that a lot of the additional functionality that you can use within Canva actually comes through the app. So I'm going to create a little Instagram post. And this is also the beauty of it, you know, it sorts out your sizes for you. It's all just sort of there. You know, 5 years ago, I used to find myself Googling sort of what aspect ratio is an Instagram post or things like that. It's just there. That's an Instagram post. It's square. But I'm going to use an app from here. So they're always down at the bottom. Apps, and I'm going to use one called Shades. And this is lovely for you to sort of get a variety of colours from within your branding, really. So it gives you the sort of the gradient shades of your colours. So I'm one of those strange people that I know exactly the hex number for my main cerise pink, which is E6265E. And what it does is straight away it just gives you those colours that complement your branding. So it's just brought those up there. And so this one in the middle, that primary colour, is the main colour from our logo, but it's beautifully just gives you that sort of gradient if you want to use anything else and just pop in some additional colours and things. Our teal that we use is this one. And again, it can give you that. And you straight away, you've got that lovely sort of range going through that you can use. There's other apps that you can use as well in terms of getting things like gradients through. So you could use all your own colours for your gradients. I was playing this week and there was some absolutely ridiculous AI photo apps in here as well. I was having some fun last night, actually, where there's cartoonization of your photographs. There's one that it allegedly says it gives you a professional profile photograph. I can't tell you how long I laughed at what it did to me and one of my colleagues when we put our photos in it. So in this app section here, basically, there's all sorts of things that you can use that just add so much extra functionality to sort of what you're doing. There was even a translation one we found as well last week that you can type in what you want and it'll give you a voiceover in a different language. So all sorts of various different things. So playing around with those apps is another really good way of just finding out what extra things happen and what extra things you can do. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'm going to show you sort of one of the really annoying things about Canva at this point. So it automatically saves everything you do. So think of it as having like an auto save function that if you open somebody else's piece of work and you do some changes to it, it's not like sort of Word or Excel or something like that you could do a sort of save as and then give it a new name and the original would still be there. As soon as you start working on something, the original has gone. So I'm just going to close this off. I'm going to give it a name and call it shading up here in this little top section here. So you always have the file name up here and I'm just going to give it a name and I'm going to close this off and go back to the main screen. And what you'll see is it appears here. It's always slow to actually bring you the thumbnail. But straight away, if I open that now and started to make some changes to it, so if I deleted out my teals, and then I just thought to myself, oh, that's fine. I closed it off again, go back to the main, open it up again, straight away, it's automatically saved everything you do. So I have, to my own fault, done this a number of times and ended up losing pieces of work. What you always have to remember when using Canva is when you open something because you're using it to make some amends, you could always have this little ... and make a copy. When you make a copy, you open the new copy. Or you can use something called a brand template, which I'm going to show you a little bit about later. So if you use something that's, a regular thing that you do, have a brand template, but it's always worth keeping an eye on making sure that if you're going to use something to just make some amends and you want a fresh version, you will have lost your first version of it. In the main screen here as well, you have everything that you've ever done on Canva. Which can be a bit of mind-boggling sometimes. And what it does is it always has the most recent things that you've edited or looked at the very top. It's not brilliant for being able to sort of find things. You can put things into projects, so into little project folders. But you sort of have to remember to do it and put things in there. So I try and do are project folders. If you have a team on here, this is really good for the fact then that you can sort of share things within project folders. So if I look at our Autism in Schools folder here, this is automatically shared. You'll see here with the people that might do something within Autism in Schools. So I've got me, Sam, Ruby, and somebody else that can actually just all access this without having to sort of root through all the work that we've done. So it's really easy just to add in people's, but that depends on whether you've got a team version. So yeah, a little downside I always find is sort of being able to find things and look for things. Sometimes it's not the best. It can be quite clunky. I'm going to show you now how you can make some of the most simple things really easy. So this here is a handout that we did for Autism in Schools, one of the training sessions we did. And this is the kind of thing that a long time ago I'd have probably just rustled up on Word and sort of hoped for the best. But within Canva, what I was able to do is add in so easily a QR code. And I think this is one of the most, so it's brilliant. It's brilliant for just adding in a QR code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here. So what we did was for Autism in Schools, that there was a feedback survey that had to be done. And so I made sure that it was there on the handout, a link right through. So I'm going to delete that one out there. I'm going to show you how you add in a QR code. Again, it's through the apps. So you'd click on apps. You can just put QR in the search button and use one of, oh goodness, the one I usually use doesn't come up. Typically, where's it gone? There, that's the one I normally use. I don't know why it didn't come up there, but I just like this one. It's a dead simple one. QR code, it's called. You really easily just type in the link that you want it to go to. I'm just going to put our main website on here. Bolton Parents. .org.uk. Generate the code, up it pops, make it the size you want, and there you go, you've got a code. You can do a little bit of customization. You can change your color, or you can put the margin around it, which can be quite helpful if you're dropping it into the middle of something, so you can fancy it up a little bit. And that'll straight away, they've always worked, never had a problem with a QR code from Canva. You can't do any monitoring from it. I've used QR codes in the past, which if you do them through certain websites, I think Flowcode's one, it can be really good because you can see how many times a QR code's been clicked on and things like that. And you can put like little messages within the middle of your QR code with other sort of softwares that design them. But for simplicity, I've decided I don't care about any of that. It's just so easy just to drop those QR codes in. So you'll see further down, we've used them in this for everything. So this was a handout to accompany a training session where there were a lot of videos. And what we wanted to make sure was people could actually find the video when they went home and they could watch it again. So we put in the links to all the videos that they'd seen in the training session. I'm also going to show you now how easy it is just to add in a picture. So if you're using some other sort of, you know, if you're doing something on Word, you'd probably have to save a picture somewhere else. Not entirely sure how this is going to work, whether my screen will share properly. But I'm going to take out one. I'm just going to add another page in. I'll add another page in at the bottom. So you can pop lots of pages into anything that you're doing with Canva. And really simply, I'm going to open a document. Lisa, can you just tell me if that's changed to my other screen?
There's a blank document there at the moment.
All right, hang on. I use Teams more than I use Zoom, so I'm not overly good at sharing on Zoom. I'm going to talk through what I'm doing, so hopefully that makes sense, because I can't work out how to share my other screen. Oh, hang on, is it that? Edit. Yes. It's not. What I've done is I've actually just gone into a PDF that's got a really good image in it that I wanted to copy. And what you can do is on computers and anything using sort of lovely Windows these days, if you click print screen, you can really easily just copy something from anything that you're looking at. You can even do print screen just from other web pages nowadays. And then when you come back into Canva, it's really easy just to do a Control and V and sorry, a paste, which isn't working. There with. Right, there we go. There we go. So what I did was basically I went onto a document that I've got that's got this really good little thing about meltdowns. Press print screen. It's grabbed the screen print. And again, as I said, you can do that just off the internet. So you can just get a page off the internet. You come into Canva, right click on your document, click paste, and it's absolutely just dropped in there, the screen grab that I've taken from another screen. I use this so much for just anything that is really useful. So in this document, for instance, here, all these little cartoony things. This one I love about the tendrils method. They were part of a handout that was going out as well, but we were able just to screen grab them, drop them in, and then you can sort of edit and crop. So anything that you put in, you've got edit image up here. You can sort of change your crop so easily, chop it off and move things around. And it's I think that in particular is one of the things that has just made life really, really simple with sort of some of the functionality of Canva. You used to do things like saving as a picture and then you'd have to insert somewhere else, but this just makes it so simple. You can make it if they were going to be online handouts and not paper handouts. These were paper handouts, but it's really simple as well. So there's a list of links that we thought were interesting. You can highlight your links and you can put in a hyperlink to a website. So whatever you were going to put in there. It's really easy to add hyperlinks as well. Obviously just added a different link to what it says, but there you get your hyperlinks in if you were going to do it as an online document. So it has loads of the functionality that you can use from things like Word or PowerPoint or anything like that, but it just makes it really, really simple actually. You can do tables, which they're a little bit clunky. It's not something I enjoy using, but over here in the elements section, it sort of doesn't feel like the place that you'd go to find what you're looking for. So where it says elements, within the elements section, you've got a lot of stuff in here. So if you were to type in table and enter, you straight away, it kind of looks as though they're just images, but when we click on one and drop it into our document, straight away it's an actual table that you can start editing and putting information in. So straight away you can pop some. Mine goes blank of what to type. I'm going to put my own name in there. I'm going to pop Lisa in the middle one. Just because I can see you. And you straight away, you can pop tables in and then you can design your tables just like using Word. Actually, you get very, very similar functionality. So you can change your borders, you can change your backgrounds and your colours. It's a bit clunky for when you want to change sort of multiple widths and things like that. But if you're popping a simple table into a document, it's really, really useful for those kind of things. I'm going to delete that one. delete table. So there we go. So copying and pasting from other things, adding QR codes, adding tables. You can add charts. Charts are really good. So if you're ever sort of, you know, you want your pie chart or your bar charts, within Elements, if you go in here and just type in charts, let's pop a pie chart in. Straight away, from just clicking on pie chart, it's actually really really good. You can upload an Excel spreadsheet into here and it will make you a pie chart, but you have your input over here. So you could put I'm going to go with very random labeling here, favorite snacks, chocolate, crisps. Since I've not had any breakfast or lunch, apple. And you can pop some data in, and immediately you're just getting a pie chart. I mean, how often do we need to sort of give some stats back with numbers and things? And again, going back to using that brand toolkit, if you go up to your colours up here, your colours you can use straight away. So it's brilliant for being able to do that. So just changing this to sort of the colours that I'd use. So straight away you're just making something look as though it's come straight from there you go, straight from your brand. So the charts function I think is fabulous, and just so easy to use. Right, any questions on any of those things so far? I can see that the chat's got a little bit going on.
Yeah, shall we just cover a few of those questions, because even though some have been answered, they're not on the recording. So the question that was asked about the free version, the branding, I just clarified that you still can get the free version is the one that's not Premium, Pro or Teens.
Yeah.
That doesn't have the branding, but you can get it free if you do it through the non-profit version.
It appears so. We checked with yours, didn't you? Because yours is a non-profit version and you could do the same as I could, couldn't you? So
yeah. And that was another question that was asked about, can you still add users? And Sarah also found out that yes, you can, and you can use it for up to 50 users. So those were the question.
I think all of us in forums are good at tweaking these kind of things, aren't they? And you know, moving people around and utilizing the best you can out of how many users you can have. But if you think about as well how expensive it is to have things like really good shared drives for keeping information together, it's like having a shared drive, because you can use it for more than just design, and you can actually use it for something that is as basic as like something that looks like a Word document. You've basically got a shared drive that you can put things together and all have access to. So it's really quite good.
I don't know about anybody else, but I got really excited about the pie chart.
I love a pie chart. I've actually got to do something this afternoon that somebody said, could you give us an extra piece for this slide? And I was like, that's calling for a pie chart. It's having a pie chart.
Really good. Right, yeah. Thanks, Nan.
Okay. So I'm going to show you now how easy it is to create sort of a basic flyer, whether you've got sort of no experience or tons of experience. You can start with something that you just think looks all right. So create design up here is where you go to for sort of loads and loads of different bits and bobs. It's where you get all your right size of stuff and whatever you need. But if we're going for flyer, my favorite is A4 flyer. What you get sort of down the side, it comes up with lots of suggested little templates. And what you can do there is you can just have a flick through and go, right, I know the kind of basics of the information I want to get added in, and something that looks a little bit like what I want, and just pick something that sort of is basically visually appealing to you. What I would say is Canva is very reliant upon sort of photography imaging. So if you know that you're designing something that you've maybe not got sort of photos or images for, do make sure when you're looking through that you pick something that's not heavily reliant upon that. You'll see as I'm scrolling down here, actually, there's quite a lot of good ones here that aren't sort of photos, but straight away there, you know, lots have got a lot of photography imaging, and sometimes you then think, oh goodness, what would I put in that's, you know, relating to what I do? But I'm going to pick this one because I just like the simplicity of it, and how it's going to look. Now, it's starting off, it's about selling a house. That doesn't matter. What I like about this is we've just got some sort of separate boxes. We've got some images. I just like the fact we've got some sort of shading that is going to sort of be similar to what I want to do. And straight away you can just go in and start changing things. So, you know, straight away these boxes, anything that you click on is going to come up with the blue perimeter that highlights. So if it's a picture or a box in the background or an individual piece of text, everything has that individual piece of perimeter highlighted. So one of the nice things about this, which I'll show you a bit more when I show you our year in numbers bit, is how easy it is to align things, because you can just move all these things around. But I'm going to turn this into a flyer for some training. So straight up, just going to go in there. We're going to get rid of that olive, and we're going to start adding in sort of my colours. Going to get rid of this. I'm going to use the brand toolkit, and I'm going to add in my logo. So straight away, it's just coming in there. I'm going to sort of change some of these bits and bobs, and it's just about going through and picking what you want to move and change. There's a really good website as well. It's just remember, because I've just looked at that then and thought, oh, that's not a good combo for text versus background. If you Google accessibility colours, I can't remember what the actual website's called, but it allows you to put different colours in, and it tells you whether that difference between your font and your background is a really good reading combination. And that's a really good one, because quite often people automatically go for sort of a black font, and that doesn't always necessarily show up really good on the black background that you're using. But if you just Google accessibility colours, it actually will give you a website that tells you that, because you have to have this certain difference between your two colours so that it's easy to read. Something I got quite obsessed about recently. But you can just go through and we're going to change the background, dark green, and you can faff around and play around these, making sure everything's sort of nicely aligned together. When you're aligning things together, you get the little dots. You can see there, the little pink dots that's coming up on the right hand side between the logo and the pink box below. I think this is something that really helps you create something that's professional, because you've just got that lovely symmetry in everything you can do. You can change this now to the font that you want to use. So here are my fonts. I'm using this one of my current favourites that we use for all our headings. Our main font that says Bolton Parent Carers, we don't use that much because it's not a particularly readable one. It works for our logo, but not necessarily typed. And so you can go through and you can change everything to be in exactly what you want in your fonts. You have all the normal functionality that you have through changing font sizes and things like that. So making that bigger. You can use the handles to make your boxes bigger. Alignment is a funny little one. You just have to click through the alignment. So I'm going to use this one because it's a bit bolder. If you're looking at where it says open house here, and on our toolbar at the top, we've got the alignment. You click through to get the one you want. So left-hand alignment, middle alignment, right, and then justified. So that's there. You have your usual things like bullet points. And then in this little one here, that's the line with an arrow. It's a little hidden gem, to be honest, because what you can actually do in here is you can put your line spacing. So we want open house to be further apart. But also, and I'll show this in the document we do later, you can move your letter spacing out as well, which means you can sort of make use of your space a bit better, and you can just make things a bit more readable sometimes. And I do think that that's hidden away in that little icon there, not overly obvious. Position, something that's really important to understand. So if you imagine everything that's landed on that document is like a layer, so if you were to pop something like this and it disappeared, if you click on position, you can find where all your layers are in your document and you can move things around. So if I was to put that somewhere we can see it, but I didn't want it on top, we can move it backwards and it disappears because that's right at the back of the document. But if you ever land something in a document and you can't find it, it's probably because it's landed underneath something else. So using position will always find that for you. This little roller here as well, this is a fab one. So this is like formatting on sort of Word or Excel. So if I like what I've done with this font here, I click on that. So I get the little blue box. You click on the little roller and then you go to the next heading, click on it, and straight away it just copies your formatting down. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. And it does that really nice thing as well that you can do in Word, which you can change your upper lower really quickly. So there's loads of stuff you can just faff around with. You find the thing that you think kind of just hits the mark and you start editing it. So I'm just going to go back and show you what I ended up. So after I've faffed for a bit, this was sort of here's one I made earlier. So this did come from that housing one. I've popped logos in. I've popped a QR code in. I've changed it all so it's all my sort of colours that I wanted, and that it's all the fonts that I wanted. Still wasn't overly happy with it at this point. There was something about me. This is going to be a printed document that goes off to parents, and there was just still something about it that made me think I think I can go one step further. So one of the nice things is, so if I just click on the background here and go to elements, elements is your hidden everythings. If you search in elements and type in background, it comes up with literally that, lots and lots of backgrounds. I'm just going to click on graphics because you can change between graphics or photos. I'm going to click on graphics and just choose something that is going to just add a little bit of interest to the background. So I'm going to use this little wavy one here. You move it across and you wait for it just to grab into the background. So as you do that, you'll see it move in. I know it's yellow, but we're going to do some magic with it. So right now it's landed, and like I said, this is landed right on top now. So using the positioning tool, we're going to send it right to the back. So everything's put forward now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to click on Edit Image. And down here in Filters, we have ways in which towards the bottom, we can change the colouring of it. So I'm going to change it to something a little bit closer to what we use in the pinks. So I've got a slightly more interesting background now. I'm actually now thinking it sort of distracts a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Elements. I'm going to get Square. So in Elements now, I'm going to type in square. And we're going to pop a square in. I always choose square because if you choose rectangle, rectangles, funnily enough, don't edit very well. So I'm choosing a square and I'm just going to make that square the same size as the whole document. And I'm going to go to position and I'm going to keep sending it backwards until it's in the right place. I'm going to send it too far back to just show you it's gone behind. Now the sort of the floaty patterns, I'm going to bring it forward one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this button now, which is the transparency one, and I'm going to make it more transparent. So basically, I've used my bright pink colour and I'm putting over a sort of there, quite like that. I'm putting my colour over the top of Canva's colour, and I've just made the backgrounds just a little bit more interesting. There's just something about that now for me that just looks a little bit more professional. And those actually went off and got printed, and they're arriving today. So I think our final version, let's find it. There we go. That's actually our final version that we had for printing. So it just had a little bit of something different in the background, which I think is just a really nice sort of touch you can do. And like I was saying before, one of the annoying things about Canva is the way it sorts out its documents. So if I haven't looked at something for ages, it's harder to find. But here's a little side-by-side comparison. So we started off with the greens and the open house, and just by using sort of our colours and adding in some extra detail, we've turned it into something that's completely branded. And we've got the final version on the right hand side now. So you just don't need to be a whiz. You don't need to sort of understand lots of things to do with design to be able to bring something out that's really great. I'm gonna, oh no, any questions on that one? Before I go on to the next bit.
I can't see any questions, but Kerry has just added, thank you, Kerry, that in addition to the screen print, you can on later versions of Windows use the embedded sniping feature.
Yes.
You can press Windows key, Shift and S, and it gives you the opportunity to draw with your mouse around the photo or clip you want, and then you can paste it into Canva because it saves it to the clipboard. Thank you for that, Kerry.
Yeah, that's a really good way of explaining it as well. It's kind of doing that in the background without being able to show it because it wouldn't share my screen. But it's just so easy now. It's really great. So I'm going to finish up with one of our year in numbers documents. I'm just going to find one of our older ones because it's now bumped down. Okay, so this is last year, 2022 to 2023. And we've done these since about 2017. So it's just something that we do that just gets some numbers and some stats on there. And we just think that they look really nice. We have them printed up in sort of an A1, A2, and they're on our wall in our office. And we sort of have them whenever we go to events. We put them on our, if you have like a display board, they're on our website. And I just think they're nice because when you see them sort of in a line in the office as well, you can see some progression with numbers as well. And one of the things that Canva just makes so easy for you is being able to grab all those little elements and those icons. It makes it really easy for you to just make something look really professional. So what I'm going to show you here, I'm just going to open one that I've half done. I was only saying earlier, I should have been on Blue Peter, wasn't I? So I'm half one done here. I've started doing my 2023 to 2024 one. Not found the time to finish it yet, but one of the main things that we did this year was we transformed our office from being a grey, sort of a grumpy grey space with a lot of donated furniture, and we turned it into what I like to call the pink cocoon. So it's our lovely space now that we're going to be able to do sort of little small focus groups with parents who maybe don't want to come into our bigger sessions. And I think it's really something that I wanted to celebrate on our year in numbers this year. So what I've done is I've found me stats, and sometimes it's about some quirky ones as well. So obviously in this right hand side here, hours painting 4, 16 hours building flat pack, 27 handles, which I personally attached to all our cupboards individually, and every handle, I have to say, had 2 screws, so that was a lot of time putting the handles on the cupboards in the office, and 1 beautiful new office. So the lovely thing about this is how easy it is to sort of tweak your lettering or your numbers and just change your colours. So in here, I wanted to get a bit more alignment between sort of beautiful and office. So like I said before, you can click on your text and use that little spacing icon, and you can make your letters wider. So what you can do is you can get that nice alignment between your 2 rows. But what's really fabulous is going back to that elements box there, you can search for whatever you want in terms of icons. So 4 hours painting, I'm going to search for paint. And I'm going to click on the top row here of graphics. And I'm just going to scroll down and see if there's a nice kind of line image of something that would be quite nice. I'm quite liking that one there. I'm going to put paint pots and see if I get something different. Oh, I like you. Oh, I like you. I'm going to pop that one in. So you can get it to be your right size. You can move it around. One of the other things you can do is you can flip. So on your text bar up here where we've got flip, so what I don't like with that bit of alignment there is it's pouring off the side. To me, that doesn't feel aligned rightly. So I'm going to flip it horizontally. So it's pouring the paint the other way. I'm going to change that colour. I'm going to change it to sort of one of our standard colours. And we've got that in there. 16 hours building flat pack. I'm going to go into elements, and I have tried searching this, so hopefully it comes up with the same thing. I'm going to type in IKEA. There we go. In graphics, got a little person building flat pack. So I'm going to put that in straight away there. So that little building flat pack's going in there. Just going to change that colour. Let's go with the teal. And it's just so easy. And the thing that really sort of gives you that professional touch is going back to that alignment that you can use. So every time you move something round on Canva, you get the little dotted lines coming across. And that's where you can just make sure that everything's aligned really nicely. You can spend quite a lot of time sort of doing this. And I think that's where you get some of that really nice professional sort of imagery from, just making sure that everything's nicely aligned up. But I love doing these each year and just trying to find a sort of some funny little stats sometimes. One year we counted how many teas and coffees had been drunk at our coffee mornings. It said something like 478 brews shared. But it's just so easy to use this elements box to sort of find all sorts of things you want. So it's a fabulous thing there. And then obviously the final bit of functionality that you have is that you can share things to social media really easily. When I say really easily, for some reason, currently mine isn't sharing to our Facebook, but it is sharing to our Twitter. So I'm going to show you here. Bolton are currently in the survey phase of local area inspection. So it's so easy. This was just a really quick one I put together the other night. Didn't have much time. I've used some little icons there that I got from Elements. Just wanted a frame or wanted something that just fancied it up a bit. And actually in there you've got, I think it's an ear with listening, and it's a clipboard. I used it to piece together the two logos from Ofsted and the Care Quality Commission. I did that in about 5 minutes, and out there, click on share. You've got your social media shares, click on Twitter. We're linked to my Twitter, message goes in there, publish now, and off. There it was, straight away on Twitter. So no faffing around between the two things. But as I said, for some reason, my Facebook's not working at the moment to share through, but it usually does. And it's just so fast to do that, which is really, really great. And I close that one off. There we go. So that's sort of the end of some of the demonstrations. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, hi. Thanks, Nan. That was really, really helpful. I've used Canva, but not some of the things that you mentioned. So that's really great. I was just thinking, actually, it's more of an observation, that wouldn't it be amazing if we had some sort of parent carer forum place where we could put all of our flyers and you know, and share thing. I guess that's not really possible, is it? But that would just be really great and save, you know, a lot of time probably for people. They could just, like, look, when you were scrolling through your things, I thought they looked really great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think sometimes you spend so much time having to do something that if you could just whip somebody else's and just do a few quick tweaks. I mean, we're time poor, aren't we, in forums? And the amount of time this week I've just spent having to do things to get out on social media for Ofsted, I was like, God, if we'd have just had a little resource that we could have done together, I think it would have been fab, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something we've talked about as a region. So, in terms of looking at your little regions out there, we've I think last year we did it, but don't think we popped it into our priority grant this year. So we probably will think of it for the one later this year. Is we did actually have a regional Canva. And part of the reason we did it as well was so people could have a go at the paid for version and then see if they wanted to then maybe buy it for their own forum. So our regional admin actually used it for some bits and pieces, but it was actually a way of doing things together. And actually, if we worked hard enough at it, I think that it could probably be something that we used as well. But yeah, it'd be great for time saving, wouldn't it?
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Nan, for that presentation. That was great. Thank you. We've just got on the slides that will come out with the video and other information, the eligibility guidelines. Because things change in Canva quite a bit, it's probably best to just go directly to the eligibility guidelines and check whether you are entitled to a free Canva for non-profits. At the moment, it does require you to be a registered charity in some form. So thank you very much for attending today. A short questionnaire will launch at the end of the session. I think Helen's put the details in the chat as well. Be really grateful if you could take some time to fill that in, please. And also, if you've anything that has come from the session today that you felt's been missing that you might want to be covered in another session, we'd be interested in that as well. And the link to the resources on Contact's website is also in the chat, where this will be found as well, along with the email that you'll receive. So thank you all very much for coming today. I hope you found it useful. Any questions that haven't been answered, we will send out in the email as well. So thank you very much, and thank you, Nan.
Thank you.